2. And hello, SFL. I didn't even ask Will if he was ready to go. I just started counting down, and we came in. I didn't even
It is
whatever.
what it is.
Um,
We're good to go. We're ready.
big week, week 14, last week of the season. We can talk about.
Cannot believe we're here already,
I
huh?
know, right? We're just gonna see who's gonna make it into the playoffs, who's not. We're gonna try to go through this shit real quick. Um, so activities. We got some fun activities here. Uh, Jameis Winston was the biggest buy. Now that Derek Carr is hurt, he's the only one that bid that, and by he I mean Gary, because he has Derek Carr and he's got to pick him up. Rob got Parker Washington and Alec Pierce. Looks like he wanted some help with wide receivers. Doesn't have a lot of money left, just spending whatever he has to grab his guy. You cut some Majay Pirine because you were tired of his shit to pick up Chase Brown. Nobody bid on that. We got some kickers going through and CJ Beathard, which I'm surprised nobody else went for that as well since Trevor Lawrence is gone. And I
Did
picked
you
up some
watch the
guys.
game after he was in? It wasn't like he was lighting it up. He fumbled the first possession.
I mean, yeah. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars know what the fuck they're doing over there, honestly. Like when it comes to designing an offense, I'm not quite sure they know what they're doing. Um, But yeah, let's just get through this shit. I don't think there's anything interesting to talk about on the waivers. We can go right through the games. I'm going to go to the big one right here with Big Truck Little Willie. 200 points against Kyle. You're back, or let's just say Little Willie's got full control and he's driving this truck. Totally ran over Kyle, destroyed him 207 and 137. There's nothing Kyle could have done. Just demolished.
It wasn't a good performance, but I got lucky that Gino and Jamar Chase had big games for me. And McCaffrey still McCaffrey, so it is what
Hmm.
it is.
Yeah, big
Um,
games. Ferguson, what was that about?
yeah, he had a big game. It's because he's the number two option. The question is, do they throw the ball?
Yeah,
I'm interested in this game coming up. Is if they continue to throw the ball, that's when they've been successful. So hopefully, big game from him.
shocker. I don't know why coaches don't figure out that when you throw the ball, your offense works as long as your quarterback is somewhat decent.
I'm gonna go to the Martian Law game. Um, Big surprise. I guess a big surprise. I mean, Martian Law had all his guys in the bye week, but I was just surprised how crappy it really was for him. Murray had a terrible game. Pickett gets hurt early on. Yeah, his team just fell apart at the very end. And I don't. You think about it, he could have started Browning, and now he knows. He could have started Browning, but a huge game wouldn't have mattered.
Gigantic. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, but now Tank Dell's gone from him, and he's just limping to the finish line. To be a Bengals fan and put Mixon and Browning on the bench, you're really not a real true fan. I feel like, or maybe you are the truest fan because you don't believe in your
You have
team that much.
zero hope.
Yeah, but Holden just rolling. Didn't really have that great of a week. He just did a normal week for him. So,
Yeah.
good
His
luck for him
not
going
great
to the
grade of the
next
week
round.
beats pretty much everybody most of the time.
True,
Uh,
100%.
and the big one here was D-Haas against Magic School Bus. Magic School Bus disappeared. Herbert wasn't, like, nobody was there on his team. Like,
Yeah.
I have no freaking clue what happened. Didn't even break 100. And I get it.
Horrible week for everybody. I mean, as far as for his team, but yeah, for everybody in the league because everyone was expecting Dylan to take out D Haas and end Diaz's hopes this week. And wow, now Dylan's got to win to get in. It's a crazy thing for Dylan.
Yeah, and D-House did all right, 182 points. That's
Mm-hmm.
respectable, even though Hollywood Brown put up a goose egg. But yeah, still puts both teams at 7-6, which is very important once we go ahead and talk about playoff implications.
But he also lost Lawrence
Yes,
in
he
that
did.
game, so that's going to be. But he does have Minshew, so it's not like he's sunk. Oh, I'm gonna go to your game. Let's go to your game. It looked a little tough going on early on in this game, and your team, of course, pulled ahead at the very end. Brock Purdy having a huge day that
Big.
really got you up. Puka came back, had a decent week as well. So you made up for Justin Watson with no points in the week, but you handled your business, and now it's an interesting game coming up this week, which we'll talk about with you and Kim.
Yeah, and I think Victor was already knocked out of the playoffs by the time this happened, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean Jordan Love having that huge game, I thought, oh my gosh, is he going to take him out? And then Nico Brown, nothing from Nico Brown. So even with Tank Dell hurt, Nico Brown had nothing. So
Yeah.
Unfortunate for him, and fortunate for you, and you put it on him. It was over after that game. After
Yeah, yeah. It was big scoring. And talking about Kim just came to life this week. 248
Jeez.
points, huge.
She went from like the worst team, I feel like, to the strongest team by getting rid of one of her best players. I mean, what a great move by her.
That trade, that trade just brought her team to life, and now she's gonna have a great playoff run. I feel like Derrick Henry. We always talk shit about Derrick Henry, and then it's always around December. It was like the joke that when it starts snowing, Derrick Henry comes like the Yeti comes out of the comes out of the cave and starts fucking everybody up. Like that's what happens. Like December, Derrick Henry starts destroying everything, uh, just in time. And yeah, we were like kind of like hoping that Jordan would come in and like get this win and then make things a little bit more interesting. But now Kim's now it's got a very good chance to get into the playoffs.
And possibly win the division.
Yeah, and I believe this is the last game, right? Campbell Soup versus House of Beer Prism.
Yeah, and Audie talked about it. To score that many points and still lose by 20 to this juggernaut
Rough.
of a team.
Rough.
He didn't. I mean, Raymond. I was shocked that he started Raymond in general. That's just me, but there really, like you said, there was nothing going to help him on that. He is struggling obviously with now this week coming up. Connor's out and a couple other people. So, this is going to be a tough pill to swallow for a guy that was number one in the division and might miss the playoffs if he loses this week. So,
and with this win, Gary solidifies the fact that he 100% gets a playoff spot.
Correct. Wins the division. It's a good thing for Gary, and he has a chance to win the second seed probably. He's second seed now probably, and possibly just to continue that. So yeah, good for him.
So yeah, let's look over here to the league standing. So I looked at the rules, and we can even go. I don't need to look at it. I can just explain it to you guys. So I looked at the coming matchups. I measured out, what's going to be needed for teams to make it to the playoffs. And essentially, the way that we are right now with everyone's current records, winning the division is kind of irrelevant at this point. We always thought I would squeeze in because I would win the division, and then in reality, I just ended up going on an 8-win streak. But regardless, winning a division does not matter going into the playoffs for our fantasy season this year, surprisingly enough. It will only matter for Kim. But chances are it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So the reason why I'm saying that is the way that our records are right now. If you get 8 wins, if you finish the season with 8 wins, you're guaranteed into the playoffs. If you finish the season with 6 wins, you are guaranteed to miss the playoffs. If you get 7 wins this year, you have a chance of making the playoffs. It's not guaranteed, it's a chance. So 8, 100% you're in. 6, 100% you're out. 7, we're going into tiebreakers. So how the tiebreakers are supposed to work is head-head is the most important thing. And then below head-to-head, it comes points, okay? Now, what ends up happening is if you have just 2 teams battling for one spot, head-to-head is pretty obvious. Whoever won the matchup gets the spot. But what happens when you have 3 teams battling for a spot. I even said in the group chat there was a chance that we would have 6 teams, all 7-7, going into this week. And so, how do you figure out head to head between 6 teams? I'll explain to you. So, if there's more than 2 teams, the person, if there is one team who has a head to head be on everyone, so if like there's 6 teams and there's one team who has head to head advantage on all the other 5 people, that team would win head to head. Okay? But obviously, when you have that many teams, the chances that there's one team that has head to head on everyone is very slim. So then, so if there is no one who has an advantage over everyone who's tied, then you go just straight to points, which is the most likely situation that will happen. You with us now, Will? Did I explain that okay?
Yeah. The only thing that's a scenario, like you said, head to head. So like that's why I'm really rooting for you this week against Kim, because if for somehow Kim wins, the one thing that you might not that you haven't seen it, but like if I win, school bus um school bus wins, and DeHaas, well, I guess they couldn't do that. So never mind. You're right. I guess it doesn't matter because right now, if I was tied with Martian Law, I would lose the head to head if it was just the
Yes.
two of us.
Yes.
However, one of either School Bus or Kickers or DeHaas is going to lose, which means that there will be a 3-way tie, and I beat one of them. So we'd go by points because we
We'd go by points. Exactly.
Yeah. So
So,
it
but if
doesn't
there
matter.
were,
You're right.
there's like one situation where that would count. I was just looking at it for like DeHaas has a W on you, has a W on Rob, and has a W on Kim. So if Kyle doesn't make it through and it's a tie between all you guys, then actually the head to head does work and DeHaas just makes it in because of that, right? So, but yeah, chances is not going to happen. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to show you guys what games are going to happen this week. Actually, no, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. There are, like I said before, if you have 8 wins, you are automatically guaranteed into the playoffs. There are already 3 teams that have those 8 wins. It's going to be myself, it's going to be Elderly Gangbang, and it's going to be House of Pre-Prism. The 3 of us guaranteed into the playoffs. There's nothing you guys can do about it. We're in. It's going to happen. Okay. So that leaves 4 playoff spots remaining. And like I said, if you have 7 wins, you have a chance to make it into the playoffs. So if you count all the teams that have 6 wins and 7 wins, that's 7 teams. You got 7 teams competing for 4 spots. And what this essentially means is 3 people are going to have to get knocked out for you, right? So out of the 7 of you, 3 of you are not going to make it. So let's go on over here to these games. So the interesting games that we can talk about right now is, first off, the big one that catches my eye is your game versus Ariel. Both of you are 6-7. All right, we know what that means. We just grabbed you guys, grabbed your little monkeys, got little Willie, and got Soup Man, threw him in a cage, gave you guys some knives. We're going to check on Tuesday. One of you guys is going to be dead on Tuesday, all right? 100%, one of you two will die. One of you is going to kill the other one 100%. Okay? So that is guaranteed from this game, 1 knockout. We need 2 more. Gary versus Kyle. Kyle is one of the 6-7 teams. If Gary beats Kyle, that is a 100% guaranteed second knockout. The third interesting game is Martial Law versus Magic Skull Bus. Because again, Martial Law is 6 and 7. So if Dylan beats Rob, that is another one knockout. Okay? So if we are to get into a situation where Gary loses and Rob loses, there's no tiebreaker shenanigans. It's a clean cut. 3 people got knocked out. No tiebreakers. Everyone who else is in. Right? Easy peasy. Now, chances that both Kyle and Rob both lose. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know if that is, or I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen. Or I mean, Kyle and Rob lose is what you need to happen to if the for everybody else to make it through. Um, see if there's anything else that you
Well,
want to add in here.
I mean, obviously the Holden DeHaas game. If DeHaas loses, then he's going to be put in that whole same kind of thing, even at 7 and 7.
Right, right.
And of course Kim playing you. The winner is the champion of the division, which we
Right.
talked about. It doesn't mean
But
anything.
it doesn't mean anything because, like I said
But if she
before,
loses, I think she might be out
no.
based upon her points.
Well, it depends on who's up against her.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you look at the playoff thing, if you go to the league and go to just the playoffs, it's up there at the top. There you go. Yep. If you go to that one and you see the breakdown of divisions and everything else, I mean, it's just straight 7. Myself, and well, I have almost 200 more points than most of them. I have 100 points more than Kim. So any points, I'm in. Anything's a point spread, I'm in. And Kim is in, I guess. So if let's say somehow Skullbus loses, Robert wins, obviously, DeHaas loses, Kim loses, I win, and Kyle wins. Let's say all that happens where there's 6, 7, and 17.
Yes, that is the crazy situation.
If that happened, I would be in. Kim would probably be in. And probably Robert.
Depending on who scored the points. But yes.
Because
if you look at points, Holden's already in, his points are not important. Gary's not in, his points are not important. I'm already in, my points are not important. And surprise, we're the 3 teams that scored the most points this year. But in 4th comes you. In 5th comes Chalupa. In 6th comes AB. And in 7th comes Rob, followed by Jordan, who unfortunately has only 4 wins, followed by Dylan, who, remember what Dylan was like leading the league in scoring at the beginning of the year? His team fell off the cliff. DeHaas then comes after that. But remember, DeHaas does have that weird situation where he owns you, he owns Kyle. No, he does not own Kyle. He owns you, Dylan, Rob, and Kim. So again, if it's 5 of you that go into where you win your game, Kyle wins his game, and Rob wins his game against Dylan.
Dylan's
and
out.
Kim wins her game. DeHaas makes it in, even though he's low on points. DeHaas makes it in by head to head.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that is the tricky one. And then it would probably come into you and Chalupa because on points.
I mean, it's simple for me. Win and in.
Win and most likely. And that is also the case for everyone who's 7-6. Remember, you get to 8 wins, you're automatically in the playoffs. So Kim, DeHaas, and our good old Kamish are all 7-6. The 3 teams that are 7-6. If you guys have 100% control, you win the game, you're in the playoffs, and it's probably what's going to happen between you and Ariel as well, good old AB, because he also has a lot of points. So if he wins, he's most likely in the playoffs. But so let's say this situation where DeHaas wins, Dylan wins, and Kim wins. That's 3 teams that make it into the remaining 4. Only one team can make it left. So it would be between, I guess, the only other game that matters would be Kyle, right? So whoever wins your game against Ariel, because Kyle doesn't have any points. We said that I thought that maybe Kyle would have a chance to get in this year, but it's not looking like that
Yeah,
because
Kyle needs a lot of help to get
he
in.
needs to get like 400 points this week. If
Yeah,
Kyle
he needs a
scores
lot of help.
400 points this week, he makes it into the playoffs. Otherwise, I think he's dead.
Is is there any shot random things happen? Let's say Dylan wins, right? Um, Dylan wins and D Haas wins, right? So they're in. Chalupa wins, so she's in. So that'd be
Yeah.
6 spots. Oh, then it would be my game with Audie.
Yeah.
So no 6 and 8 team can make it.
No, there's no such. No, yeah, I've already
Yeah.
looked at. There's
So
no
either
such thing as a
way,
6 and
yeah.
8 team.
There's either way. It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. No.
Basically the game between me and Audie or Ariel is going to put one person in the playoffs. There's no way. There's like a very slim chance that they'll lose the winners out.
Because let me see, Kyle is tied with both you and Ariel. So yeah, again, it comes down to points if that's the case.
Yeah. So
Because he's
I think our game is probably the most playoff thirst because basically it's win and get in, and it doesn't matter what happens the rest of the way
yeah
because there's 7 spots. If there were 6 spots, it would be different. So
yeah. I
for
don't
me,
think
it's one little thing I gotta win, and that's a
yeah. I
fun
mean,
thing. Every
if
year
you
it's like that.
if you don't win this week, you're 100% out of the playoffs, and
Oh,
it
100%.
looks like if you win, it's probably like a 99%. Like there might be like one freak scenario that I haven't thought of, but because you have so many points, it's probably you win, you're in.
Yeah.
But yeah, head to head doesn't look like it's gonna matter. It's only gonna matter for like that weird scenario with Dihas and all of you other guys. But yeah, this I don't think there's. Am I missing anything here for the playoffs?
No, I think you're good. I mean, we went through it, and let's go look at the games real quick.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a little bit more interesting than this, but as I looked at it, I just started realizing that most of the tiebreaker possibilities are just going to come down to points. So there's not really too much to look at. Let's go ahead and just start at my game here at the top. Again, this is the one where if Kim wins, she's 100% into the playoffs, and if she's not, then it comes down to tiebreaker situations for her as a 7-win team.
You're a little injured up, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Douglas is still out with a concussion. Shaheed still's got that thigh thing. I don't know if he'll be back. I picked up some random Green Bay Packer to throw in there in case I have to. And I may end up playing a random running back in my flex. Just a little
Mason Dillon
dinged up.
has been bad.
Yeah, he's been all right, but that's also because Aaron Jones has been injured, and A.J. Dillon's been the only ball carrier for that squad.
The good news for Kim, bad news for you is Henry's out of concussion protocol, so it looks like he's playing this week.
Yeah, that's crazy because you never get out of concussion protocol in 1 week.
Yeah, so he's gonna be good, and
but it doesn't matter for me. This game
yeah.
really doesn't really matter for me because I'm already in. So if I lose, I don't care. But it does matter for Chalupa because. So do you think she has a chance to beat me? That's the real deal.
I think with because obviously she doesn't have Hawkinson, and she'll start Hawkinson this week.
Yeah.
I think that looking at it, and because of your injury / who you're gonna put in, I think she's got you this week, which I don't want.
Yeah, because that's one more person competing with you guys, or one less
Well,
spot.
and I also want to get
you.
away from the big teams. Like let's say I win, and all these other wins, I'll be playing against either Gary or you, 2 solid teams. I think that's not where I want to be as far as seeding.
Yeah, on week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk about Gary. Let's hop on over to his game. Now, this is the one where, again, I have looked and looked and looked, and I don't think there is a possible situation that Kyle makes it into the playoff because he's tied with you and he's tied with AB. So if either of you guys win the game, which you will win the game, one of you will, unless you guys tie. There it is. That's the situation. You guys tie, and then, Kyle has his head to head against Dehas. So then Dylan would have to win, and Kim would have to win, and then he would beat Dehas off of win head to head record and make it in.
that would just be epic if that happened to me.
Yeah.
I would probably throw everything.
Yeah, if you and AB tie, Kyle makes it into the playoff. I think that is the secret sauce. But if he loses, that's one person that's out of the conversation. But he's probably out of the conversation anyway because his point total is at 2,000. He's like 200 points behind you guys, 200 or 300.
And he's 20 points behind in this matchup. I don't see him winning this game, unfortunately. Not having his best player, is a hard thing in being Andrews. And so, with Jackson and Andrews, that was that stack that got him there for a while there, and they're gone now. So
I mean, A-Chain is back.
He is, but he got a lot of points in crap time in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, Devontae had a decent game last week. Overall, he's got too many question marks on this team, especially now. Not Garrett Wilson, but Wilson is. Who's gonna throw to him? We don't know. Is it back?
Yeah.
Who is it gonna be? So, but I see you got Robert up there with Skull Bust. This is obviously my game is probably the biggest game as far as playoff contention, as far as who wins gets in. But this game is very important for Dylan because Dylan loses by points. I think he might be out, which we would have said that 5 or 6 weeks
ago. No. We would not have said that. Yeah, like his scoring is so crap. Like, let's pull up the scoring again, and he's all the way at the bottom. He beats Dehas by 5 points at the moment. He's up on Dehas by 5. So there's that.
I guess that's good. That's a huge thing for him because obviously a loss and a loss. I guess he gets in over Dehas, but that means he needs, a lot more. He needs Kim to lose in a way, to make that happen. Even that he loses on points. Either way, it's going to be a tough road if he loses this game, to make it. I think for him. And it's just unfortunate because he made those huge trades.
Yeah.
To redo his team, and maybe this is if he gets in, he's dangerous. His team is really good.
Would he have won last week had he not made the trades?
Maybe.
Because, like, who did he give up? He had CJ, Puka,
Mahomes.
He gave up Mahomes. How did Mahomes do?
I think he had like 27.
So not spectacular.
Not great, but not bad.
Yeah, I mean, Puka was like an additional 13 points. CJ didn't have that hot of a game. It's another 13 points. Let's call it 25 to 30 points additional there. I don't even think it's the trades. I think it's just like, because like what else did he give up? I don't know. It's just too much thinking. Regardless, I think we're in the situation where both teams have to win this week, or else. Because if Dylan wins, he's in the playoffs, and I think if Rob wins, he's probably in the playoffs too. If you look at scoring, he's over here, so it would be like you. Or Ario, whoever wins out of your match, and Kim, that's 3, and he would be the 4th one there.
Yeah, definitely. I think in this game, it's another win and you're in. I think either team wins, and I think they're
Yeah,
like you said, 99% chance that they're in.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
the thing is that again, Haas has that weird thing where he's on the bottom when it comes to points scored. It's just if that freak scenario for head to head comes through, then he can actually sneak in over you guys or have more points than he does.
well, have we gone over that game yet? I don't think so, right?
Which game? We're
The
on the.
DeHaas game, DeHaas and Holden.
We have not.
Holden's team's
You want
still
to look
looking
at that
pretty
one
good.
first?
Yeah, let's look at that one.
Okay.
The DeHaas, obviously losing out Lawrence. He's got Minshew starting. I think that's gonna obviously, Minshew. Minshew's just been so hot and cold. That Cincinnati defense looked terrible, though. So it's possible he scores 20, 25 points, but you know, Russell Wilson can't get out of throwing turnovers. So a 30-point disadvantage to a monster of a team. So I don't see DeHaas winning this week. I think he
Yeah,
got
me neither.
very lucky last week.
Me neither. But again, it is one of those things. If he wins, he's 100% in. I just don't see him winning because he's going up against Holden, and doesn't look like his team is up to the task, really. It's got some bye weeks on, which honestly aren't that important, like Hollywood Brown. Might even be a good thing that Hollywood Brown is on bye week, if
He
we're being
doesn't have to,
honest.
if he doesn't play him, so he doesn't get a zero again.
Yeah. Um, but it's the Trevor Lawrence going down with the injury. But again, is that yeah? I would rather have Trevor Lawrence over
He just doesn't
Russell
turn the
Wilson,
ball over as
maybe.
much. That's the thing. Minshew, you could probably get has probably a higher ceiling every week than Lawrence does,
Yeah,
just because he throws the ball enough. But
yeah,
I don't know. He has like 2 or 3 turnovers every game.
yeah. I think we can safely assume that the House is probably losing this week. So let's go back on over to the Dylan and Rob game. Because again, this is important, and Dylan is projected up by about 15 points, which is a lot. But again, his team hasn't been performing. But last week was real rough with all those bye weeks, and those players are back. It looks like Justin Jefferson is going to play this week. It looks like Diggs is going to play this week. So, what do you think?
I think it's a beat down. I think this week is Dylan. I think Dylan's gonna get the $15. His team,
Oh, you think so?
the matchups. I mean, you're talking about that Kansas City game. Both of those teams that hate each other. They want to score. Allen's
Yeah.
not played well all year. As far as just, I mean, listen, he's still number one or number two in fantasy behind Jalen Hurts, but he's still, not playing up to the caliber he has played in his last couple games. I think this is a big game for him. I think they're gonna just have that one of those 35 to 31 games against the Chiefs, and that means points.
And
So
again,
I think Dylan's gonna win this week.
if that is the case, then tiebreakers don't come into effect, and it's pretty easy. Three people are out
Mm-hmm.
because chances of Kyle winning his game are slim. Um,
Well, the game is my game with Campbell Soup, which we've talked about, not with the players, but he's starting Zach Wilson right now
yeah,
over Ritter,
I mean,
which
it's
I'm a little
Houston.
surprised.
Houston hasn't been giving up a lot of touchdowns, but they have been giving up yards.
Yeah, and it just, you know, it's one of those things where he doesn't have a good second quarterback. So and I think that Tampa Bay game, I think that's actually a good choice for him because maybe Houston scores a lot of points and gives them some crap things because I think that Tampa Bay game is going to be rough. I think they're just going to go back and forth and punt, punt, punt,
I
which
don't like her
doesn't look good for
quarterbacks
me.
here. I don't like her quarterbacks at all in this situation. San
My
Francisco,
quarterbacks, oh no, I can tell you
it's
my
bad.
matchups are terrible. I have
Yeah.
San Francisco and Atlanta. The only good thing for me is Geno's had 3 bad weeks in a row. They're playing a division rival. They need to win to stay in the playoffs. I think that he might have a better week. I just really need to get 20 to 25 from each quarterback. That's the hope this week.
I mean, he's
Um,
going with Raymond again this week.
I mean, what is he
Chances
gonna
are
do?
Raymond is under 10. Yeah, you
You
could
put
find
Elliott.
a random guy. Just find a
He can't put
random
Elliott in,
bro.
can he? I guess he can.
I mean, I guess
Oh no, he can't. He's got to play him. He's got to play another receiver. He doesn't have another receiver
he's
on his
got.
bench.
Yeah, no, this is three receivers right here. He's got Nico Collins, which is good. Rough matchup against the Jets. Uh, but no more Tank Dell. He's the only guy there now. Debo Samuel has come alive and good matchup against the Seahawks. But yeah, this third wide receiver here.
Because he's
You
starting
don't
two
have
tight
one,
ends,
and he's starting two tight ends.
which is funny because this week I'm starting two tight ends
Oh, are you as
because
well?
I'm
Look at that.
starting Taysom because I think with Carr out, I think he'll get a lot more in the run game
Oh
like he
yeah,
did last week,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and so that's what I'm betting on. Because to tell you the truth, Godwin has been piss poor for me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's such a Mac
and
Evans
and
offense.
tell you the truth, it's either going to be am I starting Thielen or Godwin at
And
the end?
Thielen has disappeared as well.
Yeah.
He started off
So
so well this year.
he was the number 4 or number 8 wide receiver for like so many weeks, and then
He was so good.
done. And then it's the whole Gus Edwards uh Cook debate for me, which I'll probably choose the wrong one, kind of thing. But I
Yeah,
think I'm gonna
yeah,
stick
as
with this
usual,
lineup here.
as usual.
Yeah.
I mean, Edwards is going up against the Rams. You said you have high hopes for that Kansas City Buffalo game. I can kind of understand where you're going with here. It's going to be super close, but I
Yeah.
think you win. And again,
The,
this is the game of the week right here because it's like this is both teams are 6 and 7. It's just like one of you guys got to go.
and
I
I
think it's
think the
cool.
biggest thing for me in this matchup is going to be Walker. Is he going to play? If
Yeah.
Walker doesn't play
But
this
it's
week,
against
which he
San
didn't,
Francisco too. It's like you never really want to start running back against San Francisco. That defense is so nasty.
but he was out last week with the groin or the oblique, and if he doesn't play, then he's going with Elliott against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And it's Thursday night, so he's going to have to make that choice early.
I
If
mean,
not, he's going with Miles Sanders against New Orleans. Yeah, I would
there's
not want to be where the situation right
I would
there.
start Elliott. I'm telling you right now, if I was Ariel, I would start Elliott.
I would
That's
start Elliott
just
too.
yeah. Yeah, and I would probably try to find a wide receiver off the waiver wire better than Raymond. But hey, if you want to root for your boy in the rain at Chicago, I get it.
It's going
Uh,
to be an interesting week, you know. I think it's going to be one of those weeks where we'll be on the chat a lot.
mm-hmm.
I'll probably be complaining a lot because I'll probably be losing.
Yeah.
I mean, it just comes down every single year for me. I just never can get it safe. It's always the last game of the season. Am I gonna get in or not? And I hate it. I hate putting myself in that position every year.
Yeah. And there's one more game, but that game is irrelevant. It just happens
Oh
that the
yeah.
two teams that didn't make the playoffs are
We don't even
playing
talk
against
about
each
it.
other.
The
We don't need.
toilet
We're
bowl.
not
We're
even
not
going to
going
talk
through the
about it.
toilet bowl.
We're not even going there. You guys lost. You're losers. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Try not to lose your team name this year. But yeah, yeah, I think we covered it all. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I just did look at that game real quick, and I am shocked at Jordan's team right now. Jordan's team is just a shit.
I'm not even gonna look. I'm not gonna give them the decency, or
No,
not gonna give them the
I don't
attention.
want you to look, but let's just say that he can't start a second quarterback because he's got Matt Jones and he's not playing. He's got two guys on a bye week, and he's got Christian Kirk and Stevenson starting, and they're both out. So this is just a rough season, Jordan. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
You
Sorry.
you got unlucky. You got unlucky. Victor just drafted horribly. Let's just say that.
Yeah, Victor was 100% self-inflicted.
Yes. So sorry, Jordan, for your injuries, but yeah,
I want to
you
go
know.
back and look at my spreadsheet later. Not right now, obviously, but look at my spreadsheet and see the grades that I gave people at the beginning of the season and see how that worked out.
Yeah. Well,
I
definitely.
100% nailed the Victor with giving him an F. Nailed it. It worried me
I,
week one when he was top scorer of the league, beating my ass. But that was just karma.
well, I think that'd be a great thing for next week. You'd go through that and go through maybe some things from the draft to see,
Yeah,
you know, who actually drafted well and who made some trades because we had a ton of trades this year. I
yeah,
feel
yeah. We
like,
could definitely do that next week. I think regular season wrap up kind of thing.
yeah.
Look back at things like that.
All right.
Well, SFL, thank you for bearing with us for 40 minutes. Will, you got anything for the people?
Not. We'll have something later tonight. Well, I won't because I can't get in my thing.
Yeah, little Willie still's got control, huh?
Yeah, maybe that's good. I won last week.
Yeah. Well, thank you, SFL. Good luck in the playoffs. Bye bye.